Today we'll be looking at no-sew dollar store Halloween scarf gowns for Instagram, coming up after this. I wasn't sure I was going to make this video after all, because I put these together and I thought they were kind of messy, and I took some pictures and they weren't working out on Instagram, but sometimes you just have those off days. Today I'm feeling more optimistic about them. They look pretty good. Some of them might be a little more messier than others, but I've posted scarf dresses on Instagram before and people want to know how I do it, or how I've done it. So I thought I would make a video about it, and what better to do when I found these Halloween scarves. And I came up with some new ideas this time of how you can make these dresses out of scarves you find from the dollar store. First of all, when you want to make a doll dress, you want to make sure that you have a really thin material, because like in real life, when we scale down to a doll size, you also need to scale down the material, and that means that it has to get thinner and thinner and thinner to make it look realistic. And the scarves that they have at the dollar store are really, really thin. Now, you might not be able to see, but they're also, yeah, I think you can, they're very sheer, but I mean, come on, Barbie is a sexy lady. She can get away with wearing sheer dresses, and you can't really tell. And sheer is also, stylish, sexy. Elastic bands, I never thought to use those. I have a huge collection of, I don't have them here with me, of different kinds of elastic bands that I find at the dollar store. Hair ties. Sometimes you can find ones that are smaller circumference than others, and you want to play around and find the right ones. You can find all kinds of many different kinds of hair ties. And these plastic ones that I found are perfect waist size. And I believe they came in an assortment of all different circumferences. So anyway, I have a lot in this color that work really well. And what better way to get the dress together by, just putting an elastic, taking the whole tube. So the scarves come in little things like this, but I mean, you can use any scarf that you already have. Again, try the thinnest one is the best one. I made this dress with nothing. So what I did was I took the dress, the scarf, just take it like this. It's long and narrow. I guess this is working really well for me too. Long, narrow ones seem to be perfect, but any shape will work. This way you don't have as much bunchy material. And then I just took the elastic band and put it over here. This is the simplest one to do for sure, and this is new for me. And you can the material is going to hold itself up, so you can let it bunch however you want to let it. Make it nice and tidy in the back so that the elastic is going over both sides. Close it in so her bum isn't showing. I wanted to make one of those pictures, those Instagram follow me pictures, because this is the perfect dress for this, because you have the long train and she could look back and hold somebody's hand. That's a very popular Instagram picture now. But you can have this all bunched up like so, and it's still gonna look really great. And it's just that elastic going around. Again, the minimal thin material is going to make it look its best. Okay, so the next way you can do this, I should do this progressively. I guess this is the way that I've been doing it the longest, is just pinning the dress under our arms. Now you can wrap this around so it's it's covered in the back, and it has a nice, you can wrap this side going this way and then over her shoulder, and then she can hold it up like it's a luxurious ball gown. And she's fully covered, and she has a full shawl. I don't think regular Barbies do that. These Barbies that I'm using today are color reveal heads on WWE bodies. I really like this body. It's not as thin as regular body, but it's got really good articulation. That's not all cutty-uppy like the Made to Move dolls. So that is why I like these. I just really love this head. I think it looks old-fashioned, especially this one. Probably these two are my favorite from the very first color reveal series. But I think the bodies are really nice, and the faces are really interesting, and I don't have to deal with hair, which makes it good for this video, where the emphasis is on the dress with these little pixie cuts. So here, it's that simple, pinning it under the arms. You might not be able to do that with all dolls, I'm not sure. But yeah, if I lift up her arm, the dress is going to fall down. But then that makes it a great pose for her to put out her arms for a dress like this. Wrap it around so her butt's covered and she can hold on to it. It looks like an Elizabethan dress, but it's also silky and beautiful and Halloween-y for this season. Things are looking way better than I thought, at least in this video. Okay, I'm going to post pictures on Instagram. You can follow toohunky on Instagram. Okay, since this one is coming all undone, this is a new phenomenon for me too, and it's working out really well. I've touched on these headband belts before. Something that is happening is that because this material is so thin, you have to be careful that you might poke holes through the material. Now that can be a good thing too, because it's going to emphasize the waist more. Depends on how you feel about your scarf, if you want to hurt it or anything. Now this is just a robe, so I've just draped the scarf over her shoulders. Well, I might as well show you from the beginning. Yeah, see, I've poked through my scarf with this pointy headband. So we're using the headband as a belt. And the idea that I got from that was from the Barbie extra set. They have this little C hoop just like this, and I thought it looked so much like a headband. I thought it was a headband, but then I discovered that it actually was for a belt. And I haven't seen Barbie belts like that before, but I think they should make more. Now, this gives you a very Asian kimono feel, but see how, did I put that on upside down? I guess it doesn't really matter, but it's got a little bow there. It works perfect as a belt. I like these long sleeves. That doesn't really bother me that you can't see her hands. I can't believe how well that turned out. This might be my favorite, and you can show a little leg. It's just a robe that works out really nice. Very Asian inspired, super cool, and it looks great with these Mexican prints. Alright, what else do we have next? Now, the reasoning behind this is in film and in modeling, it is so often that you just have clips and everything holding stuff. So this is very, very Instagram for to make pictures and to have things not fit perfectly. Because on film sets and on photo shoots, there are people with clips all over the back, and you can do that. If you are taking pictures, you can use those tiny little hair clips. You know, I wish I had that stuff with me. I do have these, and I use them all the time. And you can cinch waists to make your photos look better and clothes fit better. I guess that is a good segue to this one, where she's kind of a mess, but I don't know. She's got this religious kind of like the Day of the Dead stuff has this religious connotation anyway. But we have this dress, and what I've done here is I've just tied a double knot. So I took the scarf. See, it looks nice just like this. That could be your picture. You might want to hide the little loose tails. You might want them to show. But let's see how I did this. So I started with a narrow piece of scarf, which I guess you could use any material, but it does help when you have a finished edge, because anything that shows is going to end up looking nice. So again, it does help when the scarves are thin, but it's not really necessary. You can experiment and tie and see what looks good and what doesn't. And then I put it around her bust area, and I do 2 simple knots. So just make a knot and another one to hold it. Don't do it too tight that you can't get it undone, but scarves are pretty forgiving and you can get knots out of them easily. So it just looks like that in the back. And then again, taking it back to Instagram girls wearing scarves. It's a fashionable thing. It happens all the time. Your dolls can do it too. It gives it a little puffy waist kind of thing, but if you give it a little twist, you can twist that out of the way. Again, you could pin it with your clips. You can tuck in these things, but it really doesn't look that bad. It just looks like a sarong or... And then I do like to do this. I mean, this looks very nun-like, religious. I guess it's probably better for Halloween or depending on what kind of scene you're doing, but I like putting over the hood sometimes. And ladies do this. They wear scarves in different ways. You can put it over like a shawl. That's such a cool looking dress. But also something that I'm not so sure about that I've been doing is I've been tying little knots in the corner, and that kind of helps them hold it into their hands. If you want to put that in there, I don't know, I guess Barbie has a thumb, so you can put that in there and wrap it over her shoulder, put the other one in there, and that can help you hold it if you want to make poses. Well, maybe it can help you hold it. Believe me, you can jam that in there, and then she can hold on to the cloth so it looks more realistic when you're taking a photo. So yeah, this one's a bit flouncy because of the tying. I think I definitely like the new method of using the elastic band. And there is another instance, the last instance of where I did use the elastic band on this pink one. And that is a combination of elastic band and this tying method. And I did an asymmetrical. Kind of don't want to undo this. I think this one looks so good. And she can hold on to her train. I think I did that in my Instagram picture for her. I did tie a knot in this corner, but I mean, I recommend not doing that. Maybe you can pin it or do something else, but it does help with squeezing the material into their hand so that they can hold the cloth up, and that does look good. Yeah, this one tie method is I tied it over the shoulder, so it's the same thing. I guess I'll take it out and do it. And then I put a elastic band, which this one is great, a black one in the same circumference dimensions. It might be hard sometimes to get that on. This one I still kept the cardboard on it. So just take this edge of a long scarf. Again, the dollar store, the Dollar Tree specifically have these. I noticed that they have them all year round different colors, styles, so you can get these scarves a lot. Now I'm taking this over one shoulder this time, covering the bust, of course, tying it in the back. One knot, two knots, and you can experiment with how tight you make that, but that alone is looking pretty good. And how did I do that? I guess I took it more of the bulk over her shoulder and then wrapped it around the back. I don't know what I do with the elastic band now. Oh no. Oh, I left it on the scarf. I think it's probably, the scarf is so long, it's probably easier to put her arms up. Put it over her head like this. See, I'm not even doing it tied up tidily, but then you can just zhuzh everything, tuck and twist, and you can make this bulky and fluffy at the top. That looks kind of messy, so maybe not. Pull everything down. Again, the thinner the material, the better this is going to look. Twist it. Make sure that your elastic is nice and flat and straight. You can leave this showing, or you can tuck in the edges, and you got yourself a pretty fun Grecian dress. And you know what? I bet you in a solid color that this would look a lot better. It wouldn't look as messy, because it's already kind of, you're draping, so you're seeing all kinds of folds and stuff, and it's competing with the pattern, and it probably would look better in a more solid color in this instance, but it still looks pretty good, and I like what's going on there. I had a better pattern motif happening in my original, but you know, like I said, shift and twist, take more of it to the back, and you can clean up the pattern. And you know, depends on what picture you're taking, but no one sees the back anyway. Thinner the better material. That is really the trick to this, for things to fall properly and look more tidy. So that is the little tutorial on how, I mean, you don't even need a dress to make a dress. Wait, does that make sense? I hope you had fun with me. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tag me on Instagram, toohunky, if you have been wrapping your dresses or wrapping scarves on your dolls as dresses. I'd love to see what you've done. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I don't mind the pooling of all of this. It just looks really fancy anyway. Can't believe this. This is the easiest, best one by far. That was just so easy, just to slap an elastic around her waist and let the material do the thing. Beautiful. And her, elegant. And her, sexy. And her, religious. And her, Grecian. So much fun.